So thank you both for joining us today. Can I ask each of you to briefly introduce yourself and about a bit of your work before we begin?
Sure. I'm Pranav Mahesuari. I have been in the blockchain space for the last 7 years. Before being a part of the Graph, I used to work for a public blockchain. At that time, it was the only sidechain that existed on Ethereum network. Later, I joined the Graph for in the last 4.5 years. The Graph has been a pioneer and I would say an industry leader and a category creator of indexing blockchain data. And most of the insightful dashboards like DeFi, Llama, CoinGecko, everything that you see in Web3, which produces data from which you take decisions currently or in the past have used the Graph for getting data for their blockchain.
My name is Jensen. I'm the senior data engineer in Flipside Crypto. Before joining Flipside, I was in multiple Web2 companies, helping them set up data platforms such as like Coupang, Corbit, Clayton, and etc. So Flipside is a data company that really empowers every user to able to reach where they want to be at, help them to grow through data with the help of AI. And so that's what Flipside is.
Yeah, thank you both. That gives us a clear picture of your expertise you bring here. And let's dive into our main agenda. My first general question is this. These days, we see so many dashboards and indexing protocols. It's presenting different charts, different images, and different stories. So, but among all these signals, what truly counts as a real and trustworthy insight? What separates a meaningful takeaway from just another data point or another visualization?
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting question. At the end, blockchains are immutable data ledgers. I know this is like a this is a 4 p.m. session, so I'll try to keep it as light as possible for you guys, use really generic terms. But if you, her question is, what data can we trust and what can we not? Because based on the data you get, you take really important decisions. For example, you trade a cryptocurrency, you buy a cryptocurrency, you short a cryptocurrency. So what data can we trust, what can we not? I would say all the data that exists on the blockchain is the absolute truth because that is validated by validators. And most protocols that interact with the blockchain, for example, TVL, daily users, everything can be verified on the blockchain. And hence all that data can be trusted. And that's something that, like, I would say should be your first parameter for taking any decision or, any insights. But, however, there is unfortunately or fortunately a lot of marketing agencies and KOLs and crypto ecosystems, specifically in Korea. When I got here, I got to understand that post a lot of narratives on Telegram, which is also important. However, I feel that is human intervention. And that data might be truth for the future, but it's not the current truth. So I would suggest everybody right here who is interested in cryptocurrency, who has any sort of attachment towards trading, buying, selling crypto, they should first of all and firstly try to get on-chain data, on-chain insights about a protocol that they are trying to trade before taking any position from learning from anybody whether to trade or not. Because I think that's the absolute beauty about blockchains. If you think about any company which is publicly listed in the stock market world, they publish a financial report every quarter. But in the blockchain, I think that data exists right away, right there. So you can query the financial report of the protocol you're trading every minute, every second. And the people who generally have the access to that data are generally the people who generally get the insights which are required for the right sort of decision making. Everybody else sort of follows the dust. Hence, I would encourage everybody to first trust the on-chain insights and then your favorite KOL.
I would start with really defining why we need insights, right? Like, usually people look at dashboards and metrics. They want to not just look at numbers and say like, okay, this is a great number on a dashboard, a great graph, that's it. Usually insights leads to actions. You want to buy, like Pranav said, you want to buy, sell, you want to short something. You need to look at a certain number to make that certain decision. It's called, insights. That's intelligence. But then the problem with all this blockchain data, it's great that it's public, but it's actually really not friendly for a lot of just generic, just marketers, salesperson, like just a normal person that does cryptocurrency, just buy and sell, to access those data. And so that happens to have a lot of companies in between the public data and the action. And so people start ingesting data, build their own tables, and those tables ended up becoming a graph, a table you look at on a website or through a Telegram chat. And so I would say for users, it's a really huge pain point because for them to identify the source of it is really hard because all those tables and data are already disclosed in those KOLs, those dashboards. And so one advice I would give to the users is really able to ask those questions to the product that you use. How are those metrics? How are these TVLs getting generated? How are these codes written? Is it public or is it not public? And the problem right now in a lot of the dashboards is that they're not public, or if it's public, it's outdated, no one's managing it, or they're using someone's graphs or someone's dashboard. And so that's the problem we have on Onchain insights right now.
Yeah, so what I heard is that Onchain data itself is very trustworthy and immutable, but there are some mixture with the off-chain data and the stories and narratives from others and then every day we have to check out the source and how the data was processed. Is it right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then once we have what we think is on insight, we know that interpretations can still be very different. So how do we make sure that an insight is not only just interesting, but also reliable, transparent, and verifiable, something that others can check as well?
I think at the end of it, all those insights and graph, it should point it back to the blockchain data. Like we constantly mention, it's immutable, it's a public data set, and the middle data, which everyone cleanse it or make it into a business intelligent table or view, those are really tricky because it's joined with different tables, it's joined with metadata, for instance, like NFT images or prices. Is it a day price or is it a monthly price or is it a real-time price? Those sources has to be validated, but then the users have to, again, ask those questions to the product, like how are you generating this data? How is this TVL being generated? What other metadatas are being used through it? But the public blockchain data is always trustworthy because it's immutable. If you are dev savvy, you're actually able to cross-check with public RPC nodes and get the exact same number. And if it's not, then that's a problem right there.
I would say the reason why generally people trust their favorite KOL or somebody who's posted by this XYZ token on Twitter over the on-chain insight is because it's easy, right? I can just see, buy this, and I'll just go ahead and buy it. However, easy is not always right. I would say, in my opinion, easy is mostly wrong. Getting on-chain data and taking decisions based on that, I would say, is the real art. I can very easily say, don't trust anybody, just verify on-chain. But for a normal person who has a 9-to-5 job, or in Korea's case, 9-to-9 job, you guys work a lot, I've heard. 9-to-9 job, how do you go home and see the on-chain data and make sense out of it and take decisions? Quant trading firms generally, whose job is to do on-chain trading, they generally have a whole team of data engineers who are taking the data from the blockchain, scraping it, finding the right answers to it, and then making a trade. And as somebody who is a general person, I don't think that's possible for you guys. However, to make it good, I think there are a lot of amazing platforms like Flipside Crypto, or there are interesting Dune analytics platforms, or DeFi Llama, or CoinGecko, which give you the first look to what you can trust and what you cannot. And from there, I think it makes sense to go ahead and take the decision. If somebody says, go ahead and buy this token, I would definitely suggest you to try, for that specific token, go and search that on Dune, go and search that on Flipside, go and search that particular token on GitHub and see what kind of developer activities, what kind of TVL, what kind of revenue, what kind of addresses it is creating if it's an active token. And then, make your right decision.
Yeah, I agree that the art of, data on the blockchain is that every community can verify and a lot of platforms can verify this data is real or not. So it's kind of art of blockchain. And next, I want to check up the role of AI. So recently, AI has started playing a bigger role in on-chain data analysis. Can it truly help us understand blockchain activity more clearly, or does it add another layer of bias? And then could you give us some specific example you have seen?
For sure. I think AI, could solve a lot of your challenges. Up till now, quant trading firms were the one who were scraping data and getting the right sort of insights from which people used to trade. But now, with normal language, you can go and ask, how much revenue is this particular protocol making? And does this specific token have this kind of supply? You can ask in your own language, and AI using certain protocols like the graph or Flipside can give you the right sort of answers. So I would say, I think this is the era of AI. Trust your AI over trusting your KOL. Trust your AI over trusting your favorite Twitter account. Go and ask it the right question. And it can give you, as of this point, it can give you almost the right sort of answers based on which you can make trading decisions on your point. But I think there is a lot of development that needs to happen. Blockchain data is a linked list-based data structure. I promised you I won't go very technical, but just understand that blockchain data is very, very raw, which cannot be directly trained on AI right now unless there is a lot of money spent on it. And I think sooner or later, there are a lot of technologies that are coming out that are transforming that raw data to its most queryable format so that AI can be trained on that specific data and you can get the rightest form of, the rightest answers to your questions. And that era is coming soon. And I would say, if you are not AI, you are really missing out. It's like the 2000s era. If you're not online, you're really missing out. If you're not going AI, you're really missing out. So this is the right time to use a tool like AI to get your on-chain insights and start making the right decisions over trusting somebody who said something.
Yeah, just piggybacking on Pranav's point, AI, at the end of the day, it's a tool like Excel sheets. You just don't go in and use Excel sheets like, organize all my data as tables or several tabs, Like you need an expert that has used Microsoft Excel or Google Sheet to able to really create a nice, table or slides. The same thing with AI. If you just throw in a complicated transaction for AI, maybe it will tell you, but it might not tell you the full picture, all the logs behind of a transaction, all the statement, and et cetera, et cetera. It's too technical. But if you have a really simple transaction hash from Etherscan, and you just copy and paste it on ChatGPT and explain it to a 5-year-old, it can explain it to you in a really proper, wording and matter. And at the end of the day, AI is a tool. You need experts to really help train the tool. These are the procedures to go to when you have EVM chains. These are the procedures on how to interpret this transaction. And then you come to Solana or non-EVM chains. And this is the way how you decode an instruction. This is how you make sense of swap. of NFT lending and borrow. And so at the end of the day, AI is a great tool, but a lot of companies and engineers are actually spending a lot of the resources in training more experts to help AI reach that point where a user doesn't really need to go through a medium to get the data they want, but through AI, they can directly, at any time, you can just, on your phone, chat what is bullish right now on a certain ecosystem, what is the TVL right now on a certain protocol, and it can just exactly show you all the procedures it went through, not just blapping a random number that is on web, but it goes through all the data, all the tables, all the schemas, all the prices, and it shows you a great report. And so I think AI is in the future, yes, it's gonna do all of that for us, but currently, I would say 7:30. We still need a lot of experts to actually train it or like help it to get there.
Yeah, I think I get the sense that I think everyone in the floor also think like that we need trained AI as a tool right now. And then I think the message is kind of clear that AI can make blockchain data easier to access, but complex cases we still need human touch and human expertise and context. Yes, let's move to some company and person-specific perspectives. Jensen, would you like to start? Okay. From a marketing or operation perspective, actually, I am very curious about it because I am somehow in charge of growth and marketing strategies and operations. And when working across different chains, how can teams use Flipside? And also, have you seen AI perform differently in speed or accuracy?
Yeah, so just to explain more what Flipside is, currently Flipside has a product with a chat system in it, and you're able to use that chat to access all the data that Flipside have, which means you can pull out all the data, all the wallet addresses, all the transactions that you're interested in, and it will show you the process of doing so. So if you have any questions about a certain transaction hash, in the middle of those procedures, you're able to trace it and ask questions to recheck it, to click it back again. And so Flipside really wants to solve the pain point for our customers because, like we mentioned again and again, the data is all public, but then we constantly have to go through different mediums to recheck sources. If I'm a sales guy or marketing guy or a CEO in a company and I simply just want to know what is happening in my ecosystem or what's happening in a certain protocol right now, how active are the wallets there, how healthy are they? You're not able to do that. You need to set up a whole team. You need to, maybe do a plan with a different company to really do those consulting, those reporting for you. And so Flipside is trying to solve that problem where anyone can just go into our product and ask questions about your ecosystem protocol and give you the accurate data back to you. And we try to keep all the data as raw as possible so that no human touch is tuning or customizing it. And we have experts that have been working with Near, have been working with Polygon, Base, and they're the one that train those agents or AI to be experts in that field to answer any questions, such as airdrop wallets. And so I'll end with this. One really cool use case that we have for Bob is that, if you guys don't know Bob is also a chain that recently got published, but then in their ecosystem, when they wanted to do airdrop, we asked them to, hey, generate all the random addresses that you guys want to airdrop, and then give those addresses to us, and we'll let you know how active or how healthy those wallet addresses is. In Flipside, we score every wallet addresses from 0 to 10. 10 means, are they healthy? Did they did DeFi activities, NFT activities, swap, lending, anything? And so the more activities they involve, the healthier they are. Versus 0, where those people just come in, get their airdrop, switch to another coin, breach it back to something they're familiar with. And so what we found that Bob was trying to target the airdrop were users around 2 to 3, where majority of them would just come and pump and dump and leave the ecosystem anyway. But since they use our product, we're able to target all the users around 7 to 8 and push them to 9 to 10 to help the users to be more familiar with what's bridging, what is swapping, what is all these DeFi activities I didn't know that exist in all these protocols, and help them to generate healthy activities with Flipside. And so all this can be done through a chat and give you action items to help you grow your metrics, your product.
Yeah. So we can see that, well, the service can be very helpful to make actionable insights,
Yep.
right, from the data. And when AI gives us insights, people want to know two things. How confident is the result and why we should trust it? So how do you provide confidence scores and clear explanation so users can understand how the AI reaches its conclusion?
I can't emphasize this enough. As the AI returns those results to you, it doesn't just come out with the answer right away. It tells you all the procedures, the instructions that were trained by our experts that work really closely with foundations or protocols. They bring those insights into a workflow. And so when you ask certain questions, it doesn't just come out with a random number again. It will go through all the tables that is curated, scored, and give you all the evidence that backed up with the answer. And so that users, day-to-day users, when they use it, are these really active users? I don't know. They can just click on the wallet address, put it on either any scan explorer, and verify it themselves. Oh, these are actually not bots. These are real human wallet address that does a lot of different activities. And so that's how we ensure trust for our customers currently. Yeah.
Thank you for the response. And I think, so as I heard that, my takeaway is that Flipside Crypto helps ecosystem and the app operators build their strategies on fresh and verifiable on-chain data, so they can, they can focus on the long-term users rather than just airdrop hunters.
Yep.
And it's going to make the ecosystem healthier.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, okay, I would like to turn to Pranav and the graph. And before we deeper, let's set a quick baseline. Many of us here, including me, are not developers. So could you explain briefly what indexing actually means and share some kind of concrete example of it?
For sure. So indexing is not a new concept. It has existed in the Web 2 world for a very long time. The reason why we are all here at UDC in this exact same hotel is because Google indexed UDC's website and got us all here. So indexing in the Web 2 world exists for a very long time. Google, as we know, is the world's biggest indexer in the Web 2 world. When the graph started to being built and our founders started to build a dApp, they saw a very fundamental problem in the blockchain space, that this indexing layer that Google has created for Web 2 does not exist for Web 3. And that's where they created this middleware between the blockchain and the front end to get the data from the blockchain to the front end, just like how Google gets the data which exists on the web to show it to you with like, something called as subgraphs, which is a technical term for what you know about your data. So that's what indexing and subgraphs are, which are a part of the graph network. The graph is an indexing protocol, and you can also call it the Google of Web3 because it indexes blockchain data, just like how Google indexes Web 2 blockchain data.
Okay, you already explained what is subgraph. And actually, that was my next question, but could you...
Ask something else.
Yeah, yes, and then could you briefly explain what subgraph and substreams are? And then how accurate or real-time data can be, like, for example, with balance or transaction counts, and most importantly, what that really means in practice.
For sure. Again, this is very technical. I would try to give you analogies to explain these specific things. Subgraphs is what you need from the blockchain. You write 3 files of code, and you get your specific data. That's what subgraph is. Just like if you are creating a website, you create a web scroller so that Google can actually index your website and people can search it. Similarly, a subgraph is that web scrolling file from which our infrastructure can get the data for you. That's a subgraph. However, as blockchains become faster, initially, Bitcoin was the first blockchain which has a 7-minute block transaction. Ethereum was faster, and it became like 7 seconds. And right now, we have blockchains like Aptos, Sui, Solana, which are microsecond block transactions. So blockchains are becoming fast, and hence, getting the data from the blockchain also needs to become really fast. And that's why we upgraded our infrastructure from subgraphs to substreams. And soon, I just want to quickly give a push that we are soon going to announce something which is even the next level of how fast indexing blockchain infrastructure can be used. Because now, as you see, the theme of the conference is blockchain to mainstream. Banks are coming into the blockchain infrastructure, into the stablecoin infrastructure, and they are going to use these ecosystems. When they would need even faster indexing, just like how Google is for Web 2, which indexes everything so fast. We need something like that for Web 3 as well. And for that, the graph has been building something really, really cool, which is coming in coming days, weeks, and months. So do watch out for our announcements on that specific infrastructure as well. Yeah.
Okay, and then it's going to be my last question. It's very important. Centralized APIs can often feel like a black box. So we don't know. We don't really know how the data was processed. But the graph, by using decentralized indexing, is designed to solve that problem. So in practice, how does this make things more transparent?
Yeah,
Could you share?
There is a very famous saying by Aristotle. No, I'm just kidding. There is a very famous saying by a lot of important people that decentralization does not matter until it does. There are so many exchange hacks that happened in the past, which were because of centralized points of failures or centralized people controlling treasuries. So decentralization is what is the reason why we are creating blockchains. Otherwise, we could have just run a database and called it a blockchain or called it something new technology, and no tokens could exist on it. Decentralization is the reason why blockchains exist. I know in the past few months and weeks, we have forgot that specific motto, but I think in coming, years, people will really realize that and come back to that specific thought. And if you call an application built on the blockchain decentralized app a dApp, then you need to make sure that everything that goes inside the blockchain to everything that goes inside the dApp to everything that it displays has to happen in a Web3 decentralized manner. And hence, the graphs, which is an indexing infrastructure, also needs to be decentralized. Just imagine if you're trying to trade a specific token and we give you information because that specific protocol paid us. That would be biased information, and biased information fraud has happened in the Web 2 world for a very long time. That's the reason why we created this new economy, why we created this new internet. And it's really important to have everything in a non-biased functioning way with Byzantine fault tolerance, which is consensus for, again, very technical, but you can think of it like we need decentralized infrastructure, we need decentralized APIs to power decentralized future of web, because in the past, internet was only used to get news information or static information, and now internet is used for making billion-dollar payments. Hence, a specific company or a specific thing cannot control the whole internet. It is much more serious than that, and that's why we do need decentralized infrastructure, and the graph network is built in the decentralized realm of things. So yeah, it's the right way to build in the Web3 world.
Okay, I can sense that, the graph is specialized in the decentralized world as a Google search, right? And then my understanding is this, the graph the graph is especially standardized how blockchain data can be read and queried. So that, and then based on that, developers don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can reliably pull exactly the data they need from the graph, and then that makes much easier and faster to build a better application.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, because the time is up, so
10 seconds.
So thank you to our panelists for making this complex topic so clear. But before we close this session, I would like to ask you about the just last thing, quick thing, if you want to share.
Quickly, I start first. I would again stop by starting where I came from. At the end, this is the first time you guys can go on the blockchain and verify what is true, what is not. There is no human intervention. Everything can be figured out on the blockchain. So if you want to be ahead of the curve, if you want to be ahead of your colleagues who are also trading, go search the blockchain and find the truth instead of going on Twitter and trusting some random guy who's been paid by a protocol to shill a specific protocol.
My last thing is that with the advancement of AI and the fast news that is coming with all the regulations in countries and stable coins, actions really matter. It's going to be, the speed of you making an action it's going to matter for a company or for your own fund. There's no time to wait another guy to build a dashboard for you just to make an action. And I really want, even if it's not Flipside, really encourage everyone to explore those tools, verify the sources, and make sure that you can trace it back to the blockchain. And so that's my last thing I will share. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for all joining us. Please give them a round of applause for this session.